One thing that I have found about myself is that I can get impatient. When you're laying in bed at night and you knew just like, wow, I wish I didn't do that with my kids. I should have handled that differently. I hate that feeling. And for me, a lot of times it's just like, I'm busy, I've got this to do, that to do, and my kid wants my attention. I'm just like, you get like frazzled and impatient. So I've been working on that. Like, Lord, give me more patience. Just want to live in that unhurried state with my kids. And I was told like, hey, remember that you got things that seem more bigger and important. But like right now, like that ice cream cone, that fell on the ground, that's like that kid's whole world. They were excited. This was what they read the 5 pages in the book for. They got the ice cream and it fell on the ground. Get in their world with them. And that's really helped me. Instead of like expecting them to see things the way I see it, but try to get down on their level and get in their world. It's like, oh yeah, like I shouldn't be impatient so much so with like fighting over this that I feel is so insignificant, because it's not insignificant to their little hearts.
I remember my dad really being involved in all of my extracurricular activities. There was always something I was doing, sport, event, whatever, and he has a very distinctive voice, very distinctive whistle. I don't know how that generation developed their whistle, but it's an unbelievable ability. But I was wrestling in 8th grade, and I just distinctly remember my dad from the stands, like up high, from the back row, just saying, "Let's go, Wells! Let's go, Wells!" And it's just sometimes, even throughout my adult life, there have been moments that have been hard that I hear his voice encouraging me in those times. So definitely something I carry with me.
My favorite memories of my dad are his shoes. Never growing up did I see him in any other footwear than a cowboy boot. You think I'm kidding? He was our soccer coach on the soccer field. Cowboy boot. Putting the boat in at the lake. He's in the little swim trunks. Cowboy boots. I'm like, put yourself in some flip-flops. I don't like the way it feels between my toes. Cowboy boots. That's what we do. Anyway, never saw him in any other footwear other than cowboy boots. Turns out, as soon as I move out of school, I'm out of the house. He shows up one time and he walks on the bus in some sort of orthopedic footwear. And I'm like, my gosh, I don't even know how to relate to you anymore. What is this on your foot? He's like, David, turns out cowboy boots are really uncomfortable. I'm like, that's what we were saying. The cowboy boot is not the most comfortable shoe. And so now he wears comfortable shoes, and it's kind of messed me up. I don't know what to do with myself or my feet.
I think my favorite memory of my daddy is one that happened really recently. See, my wife led me to Jesus a long time ago. She led my little brother to Jesus. He led my older sister to Jesus. And then I was sitting in Nashville a few months ago, and my dad called me on the phone. And he doesn't get emotional. He's very Irish. He's a next level of Irish to me. And you could tell he was emotional. And he said, "Son, I just want to tell you that me and your mother have repented of our sin and given our lives to Jesus." And he's 76 years old. And so I'll be there when they're baptized. They're getting baptized in our home church in Monaghan in Ireland. 3 generations of Mulligans under one roof that have given their lives to the Lord.
A little over a year ago, little Dior looked up at me and said, "Dada, you're a really good dada." And I could sob thinking about it right now. It's just the sweetest little moment I had with my daughter. Being a dad's crazy, right? Because the highs are really high. The lows can feel like the lowest place you've ever been in your life, and it's everything in between. But it's like those moments make you forget about all the hard things or all the crazy things about being a parent. It's not the crazy expensive vacations or whatever. It's those sweet moments where you're just being present that pop through. So that was like the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah.
I don't remember growing up myself the things I had as much as I remember the memories we made. As a dad now, trying to give my boys everything in the world, but yet wanting to be a good dad, which means not giving them everything they want. And like realizing, yes, of course they want possessions. And so there are going to be things like the right thing in the right season. And if they work hard and they're respectful, like I love to spoil my boys to an extent. But also like realizing, man, nothing is more precious than a memory made. And especially when we're bonding, like the most precious moment that me and my oldest had was just watching a basketball game, and it was just like he stayed up till like midnight with me, and you could just tell like that was a highlight for him. Like he normally would not do that, but because I was home and it was like everyone went to sleep, he was like, I think he noticed it was an opportunity for just like us just to hang. And yeah, when I think back to my child, and my dad did such a great job at like having fun with the very little that we had. And so getting creative, like we would do, hey, everyone's got $5 tonight. We're going to go to the grocery store. Everyone has to make your own dessert, but you have only $5 to buy the ingredients to make that dessert. And then we'd all go make the desserts when we got back home, and then we'd do a contest, you know, and like who had the best dessert.
Do as I say, not as I do. That was his classic line. It's awful advice. As a dad, you lead by example. Do as I say, not as I do is just saying, just mind me, but then don't pay attention to what I'm doing with my life. Now, my dad was a great guy. He was great, and he made good decisions. So if I was going to tweak that phrase, I would just say, you're right, I'm sorry. You know what we have been trying to do at the dinner table? We do highs and lows, and then we go around and say, hey, what's something that you messed up today? What's a mistake that you made today? And so we go around, and my wife and I get to tell them things that we goofed up at. And that way it's just kind of like, it's like a softer, more forgiving way to kind of move through the day, rather than you have to be perfect, because you just can't be that. It's usually more silly stuff, like I shouldn't have sped down Hillsborough Road today, or I totally locked my keys in my car, like that kind of stuff. You just laugh at yourself.
Every day she wakes up with a smile. It's so incredible to see the little mind firing off and learning about everything, taking her in the pool. Everything is new. That's one of my favorite things to see her learning and growing. There's a part of me that woke up when she was born. I've sang songs about the Father's love, but there's something that, like, you're holding this baby and you realize she has done nothing for me. She can't talk. She can't say I love you. She can't, like, all she does is cry and poop and sleep. But I love her. And, like, I would give my life for her. That was, like, a weird realization of, like, oh, that is what the Father's love is. Now I'm on the other side experiencing it.
I like to grill. That's like probably the most dad thing about me is I like to go grill steaks and meats. And then when it comes to like cooking anything else, I'm pretty good at just basically cooking eggs and mac and cheese. So it's like my kids, I feel bad when mom's gone. Daddy, I'm hungry. I'm like lost. Like I have no idea what to do.
My go-to piece of advice from my dad was actually not something he ever said to me. It was the way my parents argued. They didn't like hide it from us. They didn't like argue in another room. And then it's not like we didn't grow up around conflict or whatever. But they gave us the gift of like disagreeing in front of us, but then also reconciling in front of us as well. So we were never worried if we were in a conversation that felt like we were, trying to work it out or butt heads or anything. Conflict never meant we didn't love each other or anything like that. I've done that around my kids. If Meg and I are trying to figure something out, we don't have to like shoo the kids into another room to shield them from conflict because they know that we love each other. And I think it's important to see people disagree, but then like own their part of the problem and apologize. And when you do that in front of somebody, it's really, especially a kid, it's really powerful. So that's something we've carried on.
The biggest thing I've learned is how much stuff doesn't matter. Like comparatively, thinking about my career and like what I do for music, it's like I love it and I'm passionate about it and I'm going to work hard, but it doesn't matter as much as she does, in my wife. It just puts things into perspective. And it's been great just to have perspective on life. Oh my gosh, this is what everybody talks about when they have a kid. It's wild.